I don't know how many
Yeah.
people will get because Steve will have a lot of idiots over there.
Steve has all the guys who got banned yesterday over there.
Oh, most
All the banned
likely.
ones.
I know, I know.
Well, yeah, a lot of them were saying that Bill, they got banned from your show, like they wrote in the comments.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fools get banned and then they go over and join
Yeah.
the Winers Club, right? And we're live
Yeah.
right now, by the way, and that's what I'm talking about. Yep.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
no, they're dumb enough basically to call you out for your censorship, but they don't realize that what you care about is censorship of the truth. There are some things that should be censored, like pornography for children, that should be censored. There's another thing that should be censored called misinformation, lies, attacks, insults, and nonsense, idiotic shit. That should be censored. You're
Yes, it
only calling
should.
out the idiots for the stupid comments who are spreading the lies. That's the people you're censoring is the liars, right? So that's bad.
Exactly. And I'm not, they may call it censorship, but TFL is a real topic, okay? And it's real as real gets. And for years, we've had people scream at us, we offer no solutions, we offer no solutions. And there has never been no real solutions. And the most realist solution is if you can get a woman who sees TFL, knows TFL is real, and is willing to speak out on women's behaviors from social engineering, from believing the lies, from being on a pedestal, from having power trips over men, causing the problem to begin with, okay? And the only solution I could ever find, and I didn't think it'd happen in a million years, if you could get a real woman with real compassion, real care, who actually sees the problem and wants to help the problem and wants to speak up about the truth, regardless of who it offends, okay, and speak up on the TFLer's behalf. And this is the reason I brought her on the show to begin with. And it's just amazing how many men are so brainwashed and so full of hate that they're actually no longer TFL, they're self produced TFL.
Yeah, they're letting their anger control their thoughts and their mind. It's twisted.
Yeah, and then they want to tell me about how, okay, men are more logical and women are more emotional and women act on their emotions and men use logic.
Oh yeah.
Really? What I witnessed last night was a whole shitload of men acting on their emotions and feelings.
Well, that's true. I mean, emotions and thoughts are linked. If you're feeling sad, that's going to influence your thoughts. At least it does for me anyway. So, I mean, that's a big lie right there. That your logic and emotions and thoughts are all basically linked together. One will cause the other. If you think of a certain thought, that will make you happy. And if you're feeling a certain emotion, that will create the thought for you subconsciously.
Yes. And I'm not going to apologize for removing the guys I removed last night because I've been watching under Hell by the Dashboard light streams. I've been watching on SBO's channel and I've got my eyes open. And these very men that I've been removing have been over there double speaking. They've been speaking out both sides of their mouths.
Yeah, so they're really confused because they're basically believing both sides of the story, and you can't believe both. You have to pick one or the other. You've got to be committed, make a commitment.
You make a commitment, believe one or the other, and truth, as far as I'm concerned, is where it belongs, not lies. If you want to go along with social engineering and you want to be just like what you've been complaining about that women are doing, and you think, well, I'm getting even with them, no, you're complicit with keeping the division alive and well, and the elite are laughing at you because of your arrogance and dumbness. Because you've allowed your arrogance and dumbness to control you.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, what they're doing is really talking out of jealousy. They're pissed that you have a woman on the show because they want their safe space, and they think, "Oh, I'm jealous of him. He can talk to a woman with no problem, and I can't. So I hate him now. He's my enemy because I'm jealous of him."
Well, where's that going to get them? Nowhere.
Yeah,
All these guys that want to claim that they want to escape TFL, obviously they don't want to escape TFL from what I'm seeing. Okay? That's the reason I gave this live stream the name I gave it. It seems men don't want out of TFL. Okay? So enjoy your life of TFL fools. Don't you realize I didn't bring her on by accident? Don't you realize I didn't think this could ever happen in a million years? And it did. Do you know why it happened? Because not all women are the problem.
Yeah, so they are women, they are human just like us. They're good women and bad women. They're good men and bad men.
That's exactly it. And, you know, and so for all the guys I removed last night, I only can say go over to Espio's channel and join the Whiners Club. Maybe we could send some pacifiers and baby bottles and diapers over to you.
Yep, go cry.
And you can go cry over there because I don't feel bad about removing you. Okay? Because you're not helping yourself and you're not helping anybody else. All you're doing is pushing the lies.
Yeah, you're going to push off the good women. You're going to scare them away.
You're going to run off the women that are actually good, that are on your side, and you're going to keep complaining about you can't get. Okay? There's no escaping it in social engineering. Well, you got to be smart enough to rise above the social engineering and see the lies that's been fed to you and understand them. And the only way to ever defeat TFL, and I'm not saying we can do it, would be through females speaking out against other females on TFL. You don't realize how much courage it took Jaina to come up on this live stream last night. That took a lot of courage for her to do that. Not only does she have courage, she has empathy. She's loaded with real care, real empathy. And she actually really cares about what's happening to the men. She don't want it happening to other men. She hates it.
Right. But Bill, I don't think feminism will ever be turned around. It was put there deliberately by the New World Order, and the governments are really what's given the women their power and the social engineering, and I don't see that really turning around.
I'm with you on that. I don't see it turning around, and I think that if we start making any kind of an impact, we're going to get taken down because they do control this. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to give up the fight. Okay?
Oh, yeah, you're a fighter. You like to fight.
So I'm not going to give up the fight. I'm not bending over and taking it. Okay? And I don't want other men to have to bend over and take it. All I want is men to understand the real truth. And there's only one way I can find that would actually could cause an impact, and that is for, like last night with Jaina. Okay? And we had some good men in that live stream. Drug Hope. Yeah. And Hayden Rose, really good men who are seeing the real truth and understand why. Okay? And then we had a chat loaded full of people calling me a simp. Okay? And madder than hell on, okay, so now I'm an agent. Now I'm throwing TFLers under the bus. No, you threw yourself under the bus. I don't know why you dove under the bus. I don't know why. Some of the guys jumped out in front of the train and jumped under the bus. I don't know why that you want to do that to yourself. Because I've never thrown TFL under the bus. Okay?
No.
You know what? Harry was right when Harry said that you're calling women out for rejecting you in 1 to 5 seconds. They didn't even know you. And you done the very same thing to Jaina that you're complaining about. So you're a hypocrite, are you? So there's a whole shitload of hypocrites on here, huh?
It seems like it, yeah, because they didn't even get to know her, haven't talked to her once, and they're making all these assumptions like, oh, I don't know, she's just a feminist or a covert feminist or whatever they're calling her, there's not a word of truth to it.
No, there's not one word of truth that come out these guys' mouths. They just filled with hatred and lies.
Yeah, then they want to create drama as well.
Yeah. So they might as well go put on a dress. Maybe you all secretly want to be women, huh?
Oh, I know. It's funny that they say women like drama, but there's a lot of dudes out there who love drama too. You know,
Well,
it's not a gender
that
issue.
that actually showed up last night, didn't it? I knew already
Yeah.
before I ever came on that there was going to be Mad Men. I already knew that there was going to be somebody trying to say that me and Jana were hooked up and together in a relationship, and there ain't no truth to any of that. That's all garbage, every last bit of it.
Yeah. No, you got to realize that women aren't your enemy here. You know, it's the new world order. You are your enemy. And if you
Yeah,
don't have the woman on your side, you're not going to be able to fight back against them.
yeah. You cannot win the war with half the gender. You're all going to have a miserable life because you're not smart enough to stand up for yourselves. And if you don't bring men and women back together, you can never end TFL and you can never win this war. You've already lost, so I don't know why you don't just get out your white flag or white towels and start throwing them in the ring. Bunch of
Yeah.
cowards.
I mean, I will admit that, you know, women have obviously more power today. If you get married to her, you know, you basically become her slave. She controls the kids, so she controls the family. She's the head of the family because she gets the kids ultimately. And in that way, she actually controls the social relationships between the sexes because,
I
you
agree
know,
with you because you're correct about that, but it still don't make it right.
no, I mean, I'm just pointing out the fact is that they control the kids. So basically, if you ask most parents what they care about most in their life, it's their children. You know, if you ask people what they want to do, you know, it's their children. It's always their children. It's like their top priority. So, you know, since women
Yes,
control it, obviously they do have the power over men in terms of social dynamics as well. You know, societal
they
dynamics
do.
too.
They do. And, and it shouldn't be that way. It should never be that way, but it is that way, okay? I understand that we're probably not going to win, but I'm not going to stop fighting. And for anybody out here that I've heard this so many times over the years, we offer no solutions. We keep repeating the same things. Well, I showed you a solution last night, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah, a nice conversation with a woman about, you know, the symptoms and the root cause of the problem, and you know, you were getting along with her, which is what needs to happen.
For the first time in the history of TFL, we have a real woman with real empathy and care who sees the problem and mustered up the courage to come up and speak out on the men's behalf, and all of you idiots threw her under the bus that was in the chat. Not all the 100% because I seen a couple, three guys in there that were right on page, and they totally knew what I was saying. And them guys, I applaud them, okay? But the
Right.
majority of my chat was a bunch of hypocrites, okay? Anger, bitter anger filled men who have nothing better to do than make drama.
Yeah, these guys are kind of the ones who deserve the TFL if they're not going to give a woman a chance.
I mean, that's exactly it. You deserve the life you're living if you're going to immediately label any woman you've never met as your enemy. Okay? Then you've already lost. So, what you men need to do that are doing this, then I would tell you to shut your mouth, okay, and go on your way. You might as well just
Yeah.
get in line, shut your mouth, and know your place.
Yeah, exactly. I can give you the other part of the story too. You know, my grandfather's 74 years of age, and you know, he knows back in his parents' generation, whenever the men had the power, they used to, you know, take the matches to work so that their wives couldn't light the fires. Whenever their, you know, woman didn't have a job or whatever, couldn't have the breadwinner, you know, they would maybe beat her up and control her, and she had nowhere to run to really. So whenever the men had the power, they were really just committing wrongs and evils too, just like the woman. You know, the bad woman and the bad men. Whenever they have the power behind them, that's what's creating the behavior. But the good woman and the good men don't abuse the power. And I think you had a good woman on the show, so I don't think she was abusing the power that she has.
No,
You know.
she's not abusing her power at all.
Yeah,
And
but I mean,
it just annoys the hell out of me how you men, and I'm not talking about the man that's in my chat. I thank you for being here, okay? Because we did have a couple, three good men in the chat last night. Really, no lie. But they were outnumbered by all the woman haters who claim they're not a woman hater, are the hypocrites, okay? Because you've allowed your anger to control you. I can understand your anger. I'm not against you being upset and mad because it's being pushed into TFL. I understand it totally. But you cannot keep whining about we offer no solutions when I put a solution right in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's the first time in the history of TFL that an actual woman has the empathy, the care, and the knowledge and sees it and is
The
willing to
bravery.
come up and speak on the men's behalf. And then what did you do to her for doing that?
Yep, you got blinded by hate and rage because she was a woman. You judged her in 1 to 5 seconds. You made all these assumptions about her. And you hated her. You hated on her for sticking up for you.
That's
Sick.
what you did. That's exactly what you done. When a woman came along and stood by you to speak up because other women would hear her, they're not going to listen to you, but they'll listen to her because she's a her. And she was on your side. And what did you do? You hated on her. You slammed her. And there she is, Jana. I really appreciate her. I really do. You know, I know that it took her courage to do what she did. And I know that she's on the men's side. But when I
Right.
see
Yeah.
all the hate and I see all the thumbs downs and I see how men are so bitterly filled full of hate and throwing themselves under the bus, you know, they accusing me of being an agent now. They're telling
Mhm.
people that, well, he's an agent. He sold out TFL. And you know what? I called this out before I ever did the show. I knew you were going to do what you did before you ever
Yeah.
did it.
Well, what you need to have is compassion and sympathy for a woman, and the only way you can really get that is by listening to women talk about these issues. Getting it from a woman's perspective. So, I thank you, Bill, for having her on. She had a good perspective, I think, to share
Yes.
with some of these struggling guys.
And Jane is in the chat right now and she's hearing this. And I really highly appreciate everything she done last night. And I have
Mhm.
nothing but the highest thanks for her.
Yeah, she gave good advice.
She really did. She told you the truth. She didn't BS you.
Right.
And you know
I
it's
mean,
sad. It's just sad because this shouldn't happen.
right. If someone's going to come on here and take the time on their Saturday night to try and help you, the least you can do is give them some respect.
And I agree with that totally. They should have respected her if nothing else. And they should have taken the time to actually listen. Because I didn't lie to you. She didn't lie to you. And I think Hayden
Mm.
Rose and Drunk Hope, I mean, I thank them with the bottom of my heart, and I mean it.
Oh
They're
yeah,
Hey guys,
real.
how you
how
doing?
you doing? I see
There
him.
you
How you doing?
go.
How's it going, Harry?
Great. Did you enjoy the live stream last night?
Oh man, it was lovely. I just woke up not too long ago, maybe about 20 minutes ago. I was actually over. The first thing I did when I opened up my phone, I saw that Steve Hoka was doing a live stream himself. Got about 30 people in his chat, and I sat in on it for about 5 minutes or so before I washed up, and I noticed he was talking about um, the conversation that we were having, Bill, towards the end of the stream last night.
Right.
Just let's thinking about what it would be like personally to be 49 years old and still haven't found a committed relationship in my life. And he was insinuating that I was insinuating, along with Jana, that he was being made out to be a 49-year-old kissless, touchless virgin, and that's not even close to what I was trying to portray. Because I know Steve's had plenty of dates in his life. I know Steve's had plenty of sex with women in his life, as have I. But it still doesn't change the fact that he's in a position of TFL just like I am, and so I just kind of ticked my nerve a little bit for him to make a misconception about what we were stating regarding that situation. So just wanted
No,
to.
I know what you're saying. It's what you call they're not paying attention. You know,
Exactly.
they made an assumption in 1 to 5 seconds against Jaina. Okay, you know, and it's do unto one as you want done unto yourself, the golden rule.
Right.
Okay, and I totally agree with Jaina on this. Okay, you know, they don't understand how much courage it took for this woman to come into the manosphere and stand up for the TFLers. And they don't even have respect for her for doing it. And it fires me up, okay, and I'm not going to stop fighting, and you're not going to get to me. I'm just going to keep coming back with fighting, because the reality is they acted off assumption, they acted off of anger, and they didn't pay attention to what was being said, and they took it out of context.
They did. They took it way out of context, and that's kind of what nerved me. I don't have any, you know, problems with Steve at all. I love Steve. I respect the hell out of Steve, but I just would want him to take a little bit more time to actually see what we're saying, see what I'm saying
Yeah.
before
Well, you
making a
know,
judgment call.
Steve Hoka, when we first started talking again, anger was the reason we had issues before, okay? And Steve Hoka says to me, if I get angry with you, I'm going to call you and talk to you about it. Let's not ever make it public. I
Hmm.
agree. I agreed to that, okay? And then Steve comes in the comments section and calls me a simp and made it public. And now he's up there on a live stream talking about the live stream last night,
Yeah.
taking what was said out of context and making it public.
Right.
So I guess, Steve, what, you went back on your very own words, Mr. Hoka?
Well,
Is that what it is? You want a competition again? Why? You want the NWO to win all the way, don't you? Because, you know, for years I've heard people say we offer no solutions. We offer no solutions.
right.
I put a solution in your face last night, and you wasn't smart enough to see it.
Yep.
Yeah. That's me.
It takes
Just
time. You know, relationships takes time is what you were basically saying yesterday, and that's what a lot of people are missing today. They want instant gratification.
There's no such thing as instant gratification. An instant relationship means failure every single time. Why do you think the divorce rate's where it is at? Why do you think the domestic violence is where it's at? See, what they proved last night is they're no better than the very gender they're speaking against.
They did exactly that, yeah.
They're absolutely no better whatsoever.
There are a bunch of women haters complaining about women being men haters. Hypocrites.
Yeah, they're
it's
actually exactly what they say. Women constantly call us misogynist, and I'm a woman hater. Well, what did you do to Jaina last night? Oh, that's right. You done exactly what you said you're not. It's sad.
right. And Jaina never said one thing that should have provoked them to make any slanders towards her.
That's exactly it. Jaina was nothing but caring. I'm telling you, she's loaded with passion. She's being honest. She's being real. Okay? And she's trying to help you like I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to overturn the social engineering where you've been brainwashed so bad. And I know it's a war to do it. But I'm really disappointed seeing what I'm seeing. Okay? Because Mr. Hoka didn't want to make it public if we had a disagreement. But yet, here he is making it public.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people
I don't
jealous of
really know
women.
what to make of that.
I don't know
They
what to
want the
make of it
power for
other than maybe
themselves.
what? It's other people are swaying him, or he just ain't able to see it, or he thinks the world's too gone, so therefore we might as well give up.
Hmm.
I think the biggest thing that frustrated me overall, though, I mean, just looking, you know, personally, Steve can say, you know, whatever he wants to say. If he wants to have a misconception upon what I said or what you said or any of us said, then that's his deal. You know, it's not anything that I'm going to be worried about because he lives his life and I live my life. But the thing that got to me the most was just looking through the comment section under his stream and just one after one, almost all 30 of them. Oh, Bill's this, Bill's that, Bill sent it, Bill threw Steve Hoka under the bus. And I'm sitting there thinking, y'all have been following Bill for years, supporting everything he said, supporting his movement. And then all of a sudden, he has one woman on his stream on a Saturday night. And the very next morning, y'all turn your backs. And it's like, you act as if Bill completely recanted all of the things and the messages that he's been preaching over the years. You haven't changed anything. He hasn't changed anything. The message is still the same. TFL is growing. TFL is a huge problem, and it's a majority men's issue, and it's not going to go away if we don't do anything to change about it. They act as if you completely recanted all of that, judging by some of the things that they're saying.
Yeah,
That just proves that they're not being critical thinkers. They're not listening.
Yeah, they prove just how little they really understood on Bill's shows over the years, and how
Yes.
little of the message they really got.
Well, I'm
That's
not.
right.
Jane is in here in the comment section right now, and she's speaking out to Steve Hoka. And I know he's in the middle of a live stream right now when we're being bashed at this very moment while we're doing this live stream. But that's fine, because I know Steve eventually will come over and look at this, and he's going to see Jana's comment. See, Jane is not dumb. She's very, very, very intelligent woman. Okay, she really is. And she's not being given the credit for what she is because of these guys' anger. And she's not against you. She's on your side. Can't you see that? Her gender doesn't, what you're doing is you're blaming every female on the face of the earth, okay? And you're not willing to realize that if anybody's going to reach the other females, it's going to be a female. And she's
Right.
on your side. She's not hating you. She don't hate you people. You're taking the words out of context and flipping them to your own want and desire. So you're being a bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, and I didn't throw you under the bus. You're throwing me under the bus. It's actually the opposite way around. Steve Hoka would have been more justified to come on the live stream instead of run. The man has been standing up with me for years speaking on this topic, just fucking flat out ran. And then freaking turned around and did what he said that he didn't want to happen no more and made it public.
Right. Well, I
like Steve, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I know Steve has a great heart inside. I've seen it. I really do like Steve. So this is not a bash, it's trying to get him to see what he's really doing. Because he's coming out of anger. And that's what's happening. His anger is overruled him.
I just think it's more so the people in the comments who you have to take the time to go back and listen to what Bill really said in order to clear your mind of the negativity. Because a lot of these guys, let's be honest, you can't have it both ways. You can't be on one hand supporting the TFL movement, being frustrated about living TFL and wanting a woman in your life, and then on the other hand, turn that surrogate around and get pissed off and complain and start slandering, calling people names and giving Jana a bunch of crap just because you're frustrated. If that's how you want to act, how are you going to act whenever a woman does maybe come into your life and you have an opportunity? Are you going to throw her under the bus? Are you going to slander her? Are you going to ruin the chance with her? So I think just a lot of these guys, I hate to say it, but from what it looks like, they look like they want to get out of TFL, but their actions show that they really don't care. They just want a place to go to complain, to vent, but they don't really want to see the deep underrooted issue go away. Does that make any sense?
Well, no, that's exactly what
total
Harry and I
sense.
were talking about. I'll let Harry answer this because Harry and I were talking about this. So go ahead, Harry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they're just letting their emotions cloud their thinking. They're not thinking straight, and they just see a woman and they're getting mad. But in Steve's case, to add something on to this, in Steve's case, I mean, I understand from his perspective, he must think, that Bill betrayed him because he asked Bill not to have a woman on. But then she said nothing wrong. She said nothing wrong on the show, and
No.
you got to have a woman onto the show to hear from her perspective. It's interesting to hear her perspective so that you can understand women better and you're not going to hate them.
Yes, and this Mortal the Cool, okay, he talked about Western societies is deceptive on both genders. He's correct. That's the God's honest truth right there in your face. We
Yeah,
have
they use science.
deception on both sides.
They use all this science to basically promote that fucking men and women are different animals, like they come from different planets. So one of them's a swamp beast and the other one isn't. But in reality, we're both human and we're very, very similar. That's the reality. Science is just lying to you, as they do. Misinformation. Science is the new religion by the new world order. So
That's
everything
right.
science tells you can't trust most of what science tells you. I wouldn't trust most of it.
I don't trust biology. I don't trust science. I don't trust media. I don't trust any of it because they're up here feeding you misinformation. Your school systems are teaching you misinformation.
Right.
You're all, everybody's being brainwashed from the time you're born. And you have to be able to educate yourself to the truth and understand. I want TFL to go away. I know that Jane is here to try to help men. She's on your side, okay? And your anger is clouding your judgment. And you're taking stuff out of content. You're making assumptions, and you're doing the very thing that you're whining about. And the only thing I can tell people like this, they complain about the amount of people I removed from my channel last night in the live stream. And I removed the people I removed. I've actually seen their comments under Hell by the Dashboard Light about me, under SPL. I've been watching and I see what they're really saying to me about me behind my back, okay? And then coming on the stream, my stream, and then you're over here whining about you got banned. Well, what did you think was going to happen to you? It's a very serious topic. If you're ever going to get out of this, you have to understand.
It's quality control. You don't want your channel comment section to become a sewer full of fucking nonsense, lies, and idiocy, really.
I got a guy in here that Jack Frost who keeps typing, "Isn't that right in Regina?" And if he can't be real here in a moment, he'll be the next to be removed.
Yeah,
I don't.
Sorry,
I would just like to ask, any of the people in the chat or any of the people over on Steve's chat, what exactly did Bill say? What exactly did anybody say or do that made you say the things you're saying? It's a simple question. And if you can't answer that, man, I really don't know what to say. A lot of these guys, it almost seems as if they want TFL to remain a problem in their own personal life because they want an issue to identify with. And I understand that because we all look for something to identify with in our lives to give us a sense of purpose. But
you're right, yeah.
If we're all being real, let's be honest. If a great woman comes into your life tomorrow, Harry, if a great woman comes into my life tomorrow, we're out. I will still support the TFL community, but I am getting into a relationship, brother, because I do not want TFL to be a part of my life. I'm just being real. If they want to call me a simp, let them call me a simp. It doesn't change the fact that they're still going to be frustrated about TFL. So I just don't know about the things that people say.
I'd still come on the show. Like, I like talking about the New World Order and this issue. You know, I like it because it's going nowhere but down. But I mean,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
if I had a woman in my life, yeah, I'd definitely take a relationship. You know, if she was a good woman, and, you know, she wasn't mistreating me or nothing, I'd take that. But I'd still come on these streams and talk to Bill.
Right.
You know, 'cause I like him.
Yeah. Just like Jeff Ashton. I mean, why aren't people slandering Jeff Ashton? He's got a wife and kids, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
But
Mhm.
he
I
does.
mean, it
And it
just
was
doesn't
there's
make any
something wrong.
sense.
I think Harry nailed it. I think what you have is jealousy.
Mhm.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
I think that's what you're witnessing is men that are actually jealous.
yeah. I see a lot of guys commenting, you know, hating Bill because he's got a wife, and you know, they're so mad at him, and they don't think he's, you know, right to be in this place. They don't think it's his place, even though he was the one who created the movement, and he's has a hell of a lot more knowledge than any of you do. If you're criticizing him, you're
Yeah.
clueless. You
Yeah.
know?
It's just why is it that when Bill just brings a woman on the stream just to talk to, just to conversate with, people go crazy. But then you have a guy like Jeff Ashton, you know, he's got a full wife and kids, but I haven't seen anybody slander him. And that's not anything. I'm just making an example, you know what I mean? Just
Yes.
making an example.
Well,
I
you
wonder if this
actually that's
Bill's
that's
position.
a good example you're making.
It is, yeah. I wonder if it's because Bill's position. I know they can try and create drama out of it or something, you know. Because a lot more people
Yeah.
are interested in Bill. You know, they want to try and turn people against him and subvert the whole thing.
I mean, it was demoralizing to wake up and see that because whenever Bill shut the stream down last night, I went to go shower up. I came back, I looked at the stream and 3 likes, 25 dislikes. I was
Oh yeah,
shocked. 2 hours later,
yeah.
it went from 2 likes, 16 dislikes. And I'm sitting here thinking, what in the world did anybody say
Mhm.
to persuade anybody to be so negative towards the result of the stream?
Yeah. It's all because of a woman.
Wow.
Okay? And you know what's wrong? Because the woman that come on here is a very, very intelligent woman who actually has a lot of compassion, who's honest, who's being honest. She only told you the same thing I've been telling you for years. Relationships are a lot of work for both parties. It has to be 50-50. There is nobody above nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And the mentality is everybody wants to be above somebody else. It's all a game, it's all a competition. It's one upping somebody else. It's going right along with NWO. You're their own demise. And when I see these guys now, I have to say, you're not TFL. You're self-produced TFL. You are the reason you're alone. If
Mm.
you wonder how I ever escaped it, maybe you should take the time to listen to me if you really want out of it.
Right,
Maybe
you're
you
giving them
should
good
be,
advice.
yeah, maybe you should be listening to Jaina, because Jaina told you the truth. She didn't lie to you.
Yeah. But, you know, there are a lot of brainwashed women out there who only go by looks, status, and money and stuff like that. But there's a lot of women out there who are good and aren't brainwashed. You know, just like there's a lot of men who aren't brainwashed out there. I mean, sometimes whenever some of my buddies got into a relationship, you know, my other friends would say, you know, look how ugly that his girlfriend is, and make fun of him. You know, it's like
Wow.
goes both ways. You know, full of shaming.
It does. It's always gone both ways. It's never been one-sided. Okay, never. And this is what these guys are failing to understand. And it actually makes me sick to see how they've allowed their emotions to control them. And they
Mm.
won't take the time to listen.
Yeah, no, there are
Okay.
women out there who aren't brainwashed who, you know, actually have real care. It hasn't been removed, and you've got to focus on them kind of women.
You know, and I know that these guys are out of anger because they've been pushed out of life and fucking and rejected over and over and over. And I can understand their anger. And I'm on your side when it comes to that. But I'm not going to play into this crap. Jana didn't say a damn thing wrong last night whatsoever. And if you were any kind of a man, you would have came into the live stream and you would have asked questions and you would have educated yourself a little bit and realized what I've been trying to tell you. I understand when you say, well, how am I supposed to date when I'm rejected in 1 to 5 seconds? Because, see, I see Warren is in here. He's listening to both live streams, okay? And Warren's a great man, just like Steve is, okay? And Warren and I don't agree on everything. We never, but that's normal, okay? But we also don't hate on each other because we have disagreements because we know how to agree to disagree.
Right.
Warren's a good friend. I like Warren, okay? And I like Mr. Hoka. But I don't agree with you didn't want to make things public. If you had a disagreement with me, we would talk. But yet, what did you do? You came up and made it public. So, that's double speak within itself, and it's just right out wrong. And I noticed Steve's a good man. So it does make me sad seeing this go this way. I hope that Steve will calm his ass down and come and talk. I wish Steve would have got on the live stream last night and calmed his ass down. But he allowed his anger to control him.
Yeah. Well.
Okay, now Jana says I didn't mention this last night, but I am a domestic violence and sexual assault survivor, and I still will stand up for non-toxic men. Every day I will. Well, that's right there is the real truth. I'm not going to doubt Jana a bit because we have bad on both sides and good on both sides. And what I'm witnessing is a lot of people, okay, their anger's controlling them. They're not using their heads. So when I hear what I've heard for 12, 13 years now that women are emotional and they act out of emotions, men are logical, and they act out of logic. Well, I'm sorry. If you look at last night's live stream, they didn't act out of logic whatsoever. They acted out of emotion.
That's. I kind of liken it unto a jurisdiction analogy or a jury analogy. They say in court that somebody's innocent until proven guilty. Well, last night, everybody in the chat was deeming her and deeming you guilty until proven innocent. And that's backwards.
It is. It's upside down on its head. See my little saying up here? I should put it in big letters for people. Okay? Just is it okay? Just look at us. Everything is okay backwards. Everything is upside down. Okay? And all you'd have to do is read that. It's the exact truth. And we witnessed that last night with our own eyes, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm looking for the comments at the moment, and there's some good people in the comments. Got that guy sticking up for us, Phil, and Martel the Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got a lot of people in here who, I guess, are receptive to the message and do understand what's going on. So it's not totally a lost cause, despite the fact that so much of the audience disliked the show last night. There are still some good people in the audience.
Yeah,
Right.
there
Understand
was.
what's going on.
And
Some
and
intelligent
I
people.
really appreciated the people that was on the actual show with me last night. From Jana to you yourself, Hayden, and to Drunk Hulk. You have my total respect. You guys are real, just like Jana, just like myself. And you're able to see the truth when it's in your face. And you're not allowing shit to sway you.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of character to continue to speak what you believe in from the heart, especially when the majority of people are coming down on you and playing the opposition's advocate, which is what they're doing in the chat. But I can't change people's minds. I can't change their minds. If they want to be angry and frustrated with anything that happened in the stream last night, then that's their burden, not any of ours, you know?
Yeah, and you know what, Hayden, like I don't even care, but they can think whatever they want to think, but it's just showing how stupid they are. Because I mean, they're out there like with their
You're right,
ideas.
Harry. You're right, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot of nonsense, really. You know, I'm not going to listen to people talking nonsense. They can talk all the nonsense they want about me, but I'm not going to care.
You're absolutely right, brother. And you know what? It doesn't change the fact that TFL related issues, none of us are swaying on those. You know, it doesn't change the fact that I still believe that looks, money, status is for the most part a lie. I still don't change from the observations I've seen. I still don't change from saying that minority couples and marriages are thriving above marriages and couples in the white and black community. I'm still not changing from the fact that TFL is an issue that plagues 99% the male gender. I'm still not changing from the fact that women live lives of comfort, ease, and social abundance way beyond measure than a guy does. I'm not changing from any of those standpoints. And a lot of these people in the chat seem to act as if Bill, you, Harry, myself have all of a sudden changed our standpoints on these TFL related manners just because we were able to conversate with the woman last night. And that's absurd to me.
Well,
Oh,
it
no,
is.
that
It
is
is.
ridiculous. I
You
mean, think
know,
about it. You know, we have our faces up here,
yeah,
our voices.
our voices are up here. My face has been up here for years. Okay. And so's Mr. Hoka. I'm disappointed in Steve. Okay. Because he went back on the very thing he said he didn't ever want to happen and done it. I didn't do it. He did. Okay. So I am disappointed on that, but it don't mean I don't like him. I just wish he could calm his temper down and control his own anger, because it appears that Steve's unable to control his own anger, and he don't want to see the big picture, because the big picture is simple. Jaina was the solution. And I'm not saying as in just herself. I'm saying the fact that she's very intelligent, she has real care, and I mean, she's human like the rest of us. She actually knows the real truth about how it is a relationship is formed. She don't agree that it should be about looks, money, status, and all this stuff that we're seeing. She's totally against that, okay? And she's real. She's on our side, you know. And for men to take it any other way because of jealousy or anger, make assumptions on somebody because you don't agree, so you don't know how to agree to disagree. You don't know how to educate yourself properly. You wonder, well, how did Bill escape TFL? Okay. Well, you're never going to escape at TFL if you can't understand what we're trying to tell you. We're trying to help you. And Jane is trying to reach out to other women and help them to stop this from going on. And you know how much courage it takes for that to happen from her. I have nothing but high respect for her. And you won't change my opinion about her because she's proven herself. And I think Jaina is willing to fight for what's right because she understands the evil that's going on. Okay? If you're ever going to turn TFL around, it's going to be through a woman who's honest, sincere, and real, and has real compassion and care, and who has life experience and has seen both sides of the issue. And that's who you're looking at when you're looking at Jaina. You know, so Jane is in the chat right now, and I highly appreciate that. I really do. I didn't expect her here, but I'm glad she's here. Okay?
Yep.
Because she is what we've needed for years. And we need more women reached. And Jane is the person that could reach them.
She's a lot more braver than most of the people as well who don't bother calling to the show. They just like to watch it and they'll never call you on Zoom or contact you once. I mean, she made an effort to do that, so that says something to me.
It does. She's, and she, you know, and I understand she was nervous when she first came on because she's never done this. But man, you people better give her the thanks that she deserves.
Yeah.
And that's the way I feel about that. You better thank her for what she deserves, and she deserves it because she's real, man. I'm telling you, and she's here to help you. She's on your side. Don't be throwing her under the bus and me under the bus because you can't control your own emotions.
Yeah, no,
Maybe you
Jenna,
need
you're
to get,
wonderful.
yeah,
Thanks for your time.
yeah.
Yeah.
People need to get themselves in check. They really do. You need to back up and check your own behaviors. If you ever want TFL to end like I do, then you need to really take it to your heart and listen to what I'm saying and listen to what Jana's saying. Okay? And let Jana speak out to other women because she can reach them and she could actually help. I don't care what society says because they're the ones that caused the problem to begin with.
And the thing I think is that you were right. I mean, it did take Jana a lot of courage to get on the live stream in front of a bunch of men who would judge her like that. I often think that if this entire situation was swapped and it was a live stream of women talking about men, that a lot of these TFL men who are sitting here bashing you right now, Bill, they wouldn't have the courage to call in to that woman's stream and talk to a bunch of women the same way she did coming to your stream. You know,
I agree.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree. You're spot on. See, I don't even know Hayden Rose very well at all, but the man's earned my respect.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Yeah.
He's earned my respect and he's spot on, and I would always let this guy on a live stream, and I'll always stand by him because he's real, he sees and he knows what I know, just like Harry. Harry's become a good friend. I really like Harry. And I'm going to stand by the people like this because we can only do this. We can only fight back against evil if we have our priorities where they're supposed to be. If we can't get
right.
our priorities where they're supposed to be, and you're going to go along with the lies, this is not going to go away. I don't want this to be a whiners club. I want this to be awareness of what's going on. I want us to stand up as real men or real women and fight back. And that's exactly what Jana did last night. She stood up as a real woman and came in a stream loaded with men who are living TFL and incel, who are full of hate. And she gave her message, and she did it very politely, very respectfully. And you guys are over there bashing the hell out of me. Steve Hope has come up with a live stream, and he's up here saying whatever he's saying, and the comment section is going off the roof with slamming me. Well, you're all wrong. You're doing it out of anger. You're doing it out of deception. So it is. That's why I gave the name. It seems that men don't want out of TFL. Okay? Then so I told him, so then enjoy your life of lonely, enjoy your life of TFL. And I called you a bunch of fools. And that's not to everybody. Of course it's not.
Yeah,
Right.
Steve's a really honest guy, so you know I have a lot of respect for him.
I have respect
Oh, yeah.
for Steve because Steve is an honest man, and Steve has a lot of compassion and care of himself. Right now, Steve's allowing his anger to control him, and I really want Steve to get his calm down and re-listen to what's being said. Stop making assumptions, Steve. Calm
Yeah,
down and listen.
I don't think she said anything that bad.
No. Well, Steve was a huge inspiration for me. I never would have found out about TFL if it wasn't for Steve. He was one of the first people who originally opened my eyes to this issue. And then slowly I started observing and experiencing these things for myself. And I still stand by Steve 100% that TFL is for the most part not your fault. And I understand that there are a small percentage of men who have done things and made decisions to put themselves in a situation of TFL, whether it be they abused a woman or had a woman in their life and they messed up their chances. But I still stand by every single thing that I've said and everybody else has said, that nothing's changed. TFL is a huge issue for men. I mean, if this issue doesn't change, if we get to the point where 50-60% of men are living TFL in society, we're going to see drug addiction, suicide rates, hundreds and thousands, if not millions of men dropping out of the workforce if this issue doesn't come to an end. I don't understand how society thinks a big portion of men are going to be okay with living a life of forever alone, TFL, and just what, do they expect men to be okay with that? Do they expect men to just say, okay, well, I don't have a wife, I don't have children, I don't have anything to work for, but I'll still work anyway? Bull crap. No. I mean, we're going to see serious repercussions if this issue doesn't go away. And if TFL men who look at things from the negative end of the spectrum want to see change, they have to be willing to step outside of their comfort zone and be open-minded to the small percentage of good women who are willing to listen
Yes.
to the problems that men face in this movement,
Yes. Well, Toronto man called me this morning on Zoom, and I was really surprised and I was really happy that he did. And him and I had a conversation this morning, and he was listening to some of last night's live stream with Jana, okay? And he's on the same page. He understands what I'm saying, okay? And Toronto man's actually a little bit more intelligent than people are giving him credit for,
Right.
okay?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I was so happy that he called me because it shows that Toronto man's, I mean, I knew he was a good man and I'm going to stand by him, okay? It's not his fault he has a stuttering issue, okay? But unfortunately, it's being used against him.
Yeah, no, that's a tough issue. It's really tough.
Yeah, I mean, with his speech impediment, which, he didn't ask for that. That was something that came upon him. And for him to still have the courage to be a part of the church takes a
Yes.
lot of strength. It takes a lot of strength. If I was in his shoes, I may not have it. I mean,
Yeah, well, Harry and I were talking about Toronto man, and I was so worried that these trolls, these haters, was going to steer him the wrong direction. And then, of
Right.
course, they would have used him. And then they would have hurt him again. And I did not want him being hurt again. He don't need
Yeah.
it. He's had enough damn hurt and has a hard enough life. Okay,
Yeah.
without people adding to it.
No. I mean, Bill's a really good man. He's got a lot of care, and Toronto can see that, so he's not going to be misled by these snakes.
Right. Harry, you live in the United Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you some questions. Obviously, I live in Texas, Dallas, and as far as being a white person, when I'm out and about in public, at the grocery store, at the shopping mall, or anywhere in public, I see tons of Hispanic couples my age, marriages, tons of Asian couples, Japanese, Chinese, East Indian, Muslims, my age, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, plenty of kids, lots of kids. But the only white couples or marriages that I see are the older couples, the Gen Xers or the baby boomers, like our parents' ages, who seem to have missed the TFL wave. But what I do not see, or I see very rarely often, is people our age, a white man and a white woman together, just grocery shopping, white couples our age. Do you see the same thing?
Well, if I'm thinking about it, I think a lot of people in their relationships are maybe past the age of 25. I think I see maybe there are some in their 20s who I do see in relationships and couples, but my country is maybe not as it's not been as destroyed yet, I don't think, as yours. I mean, you know, my one's sort of Northern Ireland, so it's a bit more religious over here, and there's a lot less immigration. You know, it's the second most white country on earth. But I still, I
Okay.
mean, I was friends with, you know, a Muslim family growing up, and I do know, you know, the Muslim communities that do stick together. Like, you know, I hang out with him, and he'd have like all these other, you know, Muslim families over like, you know, 20 from like over 20 miles away, and you know, they stick together like glue. But then, you know, as well, they have sort of connections back in Egypt. So I mean, he would have no problem getting an arranged marriage to an Egyptian woman and bringing her over here, because he's got a lot of wealth, obviously, and stuff that they want over there. Because in them countries, you know, they're really jealous of people who have the British passports or whatever. You know, they see them as, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing to have. So they want that. So a
Right.
lot of these guys, you know, who are maybe in relationships are basically getting there from back in their homelands, or, you know, maybe as well, you know, because these communities do stick together, you know, quite
Okay.
closely,
Well,
you know, that helps them. Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I just think it's you know, because the white community is always trashing Hispanics and these minority communities. But if there's one thing I can't admit, these Hispanic cultures, you know, TFL has not hit them. It hasn't. I see. What's the word I'm looking for? I mean, they're flourishing in terms of the dating scene, Hispanic communities, Asian communities, and that's one point that Hell by the Dashboard made. And it's like, maybe white people need to take a step back here in America and, you know, take a look at what's going on in our community. Because
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
see young white women my age, they're all out and about with each other. You know, they're bisexual. Or, I mean, the line between a bisexual and a straight woman is so paper thin these days. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I know a lot of girls from my school actually ended up going down that route, you know, but they would go to universities in England or whatever as well. But then, you know, I see them post on their social media, and it's just, you know, groups of girls, as you say, going
Mm-hmm.
around with that guy in sight. So I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, you know, that they believe in hookup culture really, and, you know, sticking
Yeah.
to girlfriends above all else, you know.
Yeah. And a lot of these people that follow Steve, they still believe in the looks, money, status thing. But I would encourage them to just step outside of your home. I mean, maybe it's easier for me because I live in such an immigrant based city, but I mean, what are these people going to say whenever they run into a Hispanic couple where the guy's like 5'6" and he's got a wife and kids? What are they going to say when they run into an Asian couple where the guy's not too handsome, but he still has a girlfriend? He still's got a wife and children. I mean, who comes up with these ideas that you have to be 6'3", bro, or it's over? I mean, you know, it's just
Yeah. But
It,
you
uh,
know,
it's actually insanity because I'm 5'6.5", okay, and I lived TFL for 28 years of my life. I escaped TFL for quite a few years, almost 18 years, and then I was bashed right back into TFL again, okay. And since that time, I've had a few dates, you know what I'm saying, and then the situation I'm in now, where I got a wife again, okay, that technically I'm really not with anymore. But at the same time, I still care about her. I'm not her enemy, and I care about what happens, okay? And they don't understand that if you're ever going to get out, we're ever going to stop this, you have to get on the same page to understand that we've all been lied to. We have,
mm-hmm.
and society has propped one gender up over the top of the other, causing the division they caused. It was no accident, okay? And if you're ever going to bring men and women back together again, then both genders have to be involved. If you're ever going to make TFL go away, both genders have to be involved. And this is something I don't think Steve understands. Steve made it clear on his video when he was doing the reply to that Randy, that female who is really corrupt, okay? And
Yeah.
I applaud him for doing a reply to her. But 3/4 of the way through the video, he makes a statement saying, there will never be no women allowed in TFL, okay? And that was directed to me. I wasn't born yesterday because he knew about Jana coming on the show. And then when the Jana come on the show, he types me and says, I'll be in the chat section. You don't want to come on. And then when people try to get him to come on the show, he says, I'm too tired. And then a few minutes later, he says, I'll do a live stream at 2 a.m. Okay? So that was double speak on Mr. Holka's side. And as much as I love Steve and as much as honesty Steve is, when his anger gets a hold of him, he don't think. He's thinking with emotion and anger.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm just going to say, it was a weird feeling whenever I used to go to these parties and there'd be like, 40 Muslim people in the house and I was the only white person in there, It was weird. Like.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people as well, they raise their kids with different values, so they don't actually have them in front of the TV sets all the time. They have them studying from a young age, or going out there to a mosque, or meeting up with people and doing sports and things. So
that's a huge point you just made there, Harry.
Oh yeah, like a lot of these, middle class white people are just put their kids in front of the TV all day, and then the TV teaches them what to think. Like they believe the lies the TV set, tells them. They think it's all like a TV show, And
Right.
that's what a lot of white people just talk about TV shows, politics, the president, Trump. You can listen to them all the time. It's all this media they're just discussing that they've been fed from their internet and their TV sets.
Right. And I'll be the first to admit that I have little to no social life. I know that there's a few guys in the manosphere, for example, Blue Skies Media and Hell by the Dashboard Light. They say that they don't want to be around, what is the term they use? Other scrotum sacks or other dicks.
Oh, they are. They are. And that message right there is corrupt. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're cutting other guys down for other scrotum sacks, okay? And I'm so sick and tired, and I hate my men. I hate other men so bad. And then at the same time, you're hating women so bad. So then when Mr. Holka says, okay, women love women, men love women, women hate men, and men hate men, he's actually part of the problem. He's doing the very thing that he's claiming is happening.
I mean, yeah, in my own personal life, I maybe have a few male coworkers that I can go, have a drink at the bar with on a couple Saturdays a month or so. And I'll be the first to admit that I maybe only have like one other male friend that I could really turn to go hang out with. But me and him sort of have different values and belief systems. So, the majority of the time, I'm all alone outside of work and the time I spend with my coworkers. But that still doesn't change the fact that I know that my life could be greatly enriched if I had other male friends that I could relate to and spend time with. Because ultimately, I think Steve Hoker made a good point on one of his streams one time. He said that there's nothing that entices a woman more than seeing a bunch of group of guys chewing the fat together. And I still believe that's, relatively true. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I got something I want to say real quick. Wolf Martin's in here, and he says, Bill, are you having a beef with Mr. Hoka? Okay, now. No, not really. My beef is simple. Mr. Hoka asked me because in the past we both had hot tempers. Okay, we both did wrong. We both acknowledge this. And Steve says from now on, if I ever get mad, I'm coming straight to you and we'll talk about it, okay? I agree to that. It says don't make anything public. I agree to that. And then Steve Hoka shows up calling me a simp in the live stream in the chat. And then he does a live stream today and his fans are doing nothing but slamming me, okay? And he's talking about last night's live stream in a negative light. That's what's going on with Martin. And Steve's temper's got the best of him. He's not allowing me to be me, and he's not understanding what I'm doing because he's not backing up and thinking about it. Mr. Hoka has a lot of care. Mr. Hoka is an honest man. But Mr. Hoka also has a very hot temper. And right now, his temper is controlling him. And I don't want to beef with Mr. Hoka. I want him to back up, calm down, and rethink what he's saying and talk. But that's going to be up to Mr. Hoka to do that. I can't do it for him. I do not dislike him. I like Steve. I love the hell out of Steve. He is a great man. I just hope he can calm down.
Oh, absolutely. I think we can all agree. I mean, we love Steve. I love Steve. He's a huge inspiration to me. And if he wanted to come into the chat, I'd love to talk with him and just clear up any misconceptions that there may have been. Because, I don't want him thinking that, oh, I or Jana is insinuating that, oh, I'm living a life 49-year-old kissless virgin. No, that's not what anybody was trying to make a point out of. We're just simply relating to the idea that if I was at his age, going through the hardships and the circumstances that he's going through in his life, and I didn't have a woman that I could connect with romantically and have a relationship with, I would be just as angry, if not more than he is. And
Yeah,
it was nothing about being derogatory at all. It was just making a relation to the experience that he's going through. So,
yeah, I understand that. I've been watching what's going on in the chat between Jana and this Dean guy, and I can only tell this to this Dean guy. We've all made mistakes in our life. We were all brainwashed and socially engineered into our behaviors. And Jana rose above that, okay? And she's actually on the men's side. She really is. She's also on the women's side, so don't get me wrong. But she's not on women's side who are corrupt and doing the behaviors that are going on that's causing the division. And if we're ever going to turn it around, you have to have women willing to come up here and speak out, okay? And Jana deserves respect for that, okay? So to that Dean guy on here, you need to understand if we're ever going to turn this around, we need women like her because it's going to take men and women to turn together to turn it around. And women are going to listen to other women more than they will men.
very true.
So how are you going to turn it around? Otherwise, you're not. And I don't want this to continue. I want to fight back. And that's what I'm doing. I'm fighting back. And that's what Jane is doing. So you got to get off your anger about her. Feel free to question her. Let her answer her honest opinion. But remember, like you're a human who made mistakes from social engineering, so is she. And don't use her mistakes against her when you got a belly full of mistakes yourself. It's called let it go and grow up.
I've seen Dean comment in the past, he's a good man, but maybe he's just got a misunderstanding, mate. Maybe he hasn't seen last night's live stream, but Jana did comment about the double standards in the live stream and how men have it tougher in a lot of areas like the divorce courts, I believe. So
right.
Yes, she did.
he's saying,
yes, she did.
he says, how can you not see all the double standards in society? But I think she did see them, so I don't understand.
Yes, I understand. See, I knew that people were going to think that Jana was infiltrating. Let me tell you something. Jana's been following me for 2 or 3 years now, okay? And she's watched my political stuff and she's watched my dating scene stuff, and she never ran. She never ran, okay? And she came on here with the courage, and I talked to her for 5 hours the first time we actually talked. And I'll tell you what, she's real. She's not a chameleon, okay? She's not infiltrating. She's on your side. So you're going to have to allow a woman who's on your side to be on your side, because she could bring more women on our side. She could make an impact to bring the genders talking about the same thing, which could overturn this corruption and stop TFL from happening. Sure, I mean, we're in a very corrupt society and they don't want it, but it is what has to happen, because if we never allow it to happen, then the problem continues to go on and on and on. And every year, TFL is getting bigger, more men, more men, more men. Okay? So this needs to happen. Okay? It really does. Now, Fred asked me why he thinks Steve Oak is so mad and hates women so bad. From our life of being rejected.
No.
From watching the court systems and watching the double standards and everything that all of us have witnessed. This is where his anger comes from. It's justified anger. but you have to be willing to control your anger. Okay, you have to be willing to take the time to watch and see what goes down. Okay. Okay, Warren says, I don't get people on your stream here hating on you, Bill, when Steve has another stream going and they are rather listening to Steve. Go to his channel. I'm still neutral, and all of this is for now. I'm with you, Warren. You need to listen to his, and you need to listen to my live stream, and you need to pay attention to what Jana said. Pay attention to what was being talked about. I'm with you on that, Warren. Okay? Don't get yourself involved because you wasn't part of it. But listen to both sides, okay? After you listen to both sides, Warren, then come back after thinking with an opinion. Because you know you and I are friends and you can talk to me anytime. And that's to Warren.
Right, yeah, but Jana, she's talking about the domestic violence against men and how men don't have enough shelters in comparison for the abused men as the women do. So
That's
pick up for us.
And Bill, well, sorry, go ahead.
I just said I got to give credit where it's due. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Bill, I wanted to ask you a question because I've been following an issue that I'm also pretty passionate about is the issue of homelessness, primarily male homelessness, and the lack of good homeless shelters here in American society, and probably something that Harry can relate to as well, seeing it in his own country. But what do you think about the idea of converting a lot of these big churches, shutting them down and opening them up as homeless shelters?
I wouldn't be against that at all because your churches have been used to control the population for the NWO agenda.
Yes.
Okay. And if you shut them down and shut their following down, you could reach more people. And we need more homeless shelters. And you need to stop stuff like the Violence Against Women's Act. It was literally wrote into the law that a man can never be a victim of domestic abuse by a female, which is a load of fucking bullshit, okay?
Bullshit.
And that was literally wrote into the law with the Violence Against Women's Act. None of this stuff is an accident. None of it, And I'm just saddened by the situation. And to Fred, I have a lot of respect for you, for you've earned it last night. I don't know you personally, but you did earn it. But I will not ban Mr. Hoka for this reason. I've known Steve a long time. Steve is an honest guy. He's full of passion. He has a lot of care. He is a really good guy. The problem with Steve is his temper gets the best of him. He wants other people to think like he's thinking, and it don't work that way in life, okay? And he needs to calm down, back up, and rethink. That's all that needs to happen with Steve, okay? So I'm not going to ban him. There's no way I'll do that to Mr. Hoka.
Yeah.
I just won't do it. He's not my enemy. He's just running on emotion right now. That's why I say when everybody wants to tell you that women run on emotions and men run on logic, last night's show proves that's not true at all. Because 90% of the people in the chat were running on emotion, including Steve Hoka.
The only difference is that men maybe get punished more in today's society, so they've got to think twice about their decisions. Women are maybe more likely to get away.
That part I agree, Harry.
Yep.
Men get held accountable and punished, but cut down and called weak and every name in the book when their emotions come out. It's wrong. It's been socially engineered that way, and it's destroying our society. See, as a man, you're just as human as a woman. You have emotions and feelings and wants and needs, and you shouldn't have to suppress them and shut up about your emotions because some creep says, Well, your role as a man, and they're telling you what you're supposed to be as a man, and then they're saying your role as a woman is this is what you're supposed to be. Don't you understand that social engineering brainwashing to divide the genders? And it's worked. It's divide and conquer.
You know, getting back to the whole homeless shelter issue, I was actually talking to a guy who worked in one, and he was basically telling me that a lot of the people in there kind of rough with them and treat them quite formally, by like official name, and then it can kind of provoke some of these people and use law enforcement to fuck them over. But really, you got to take your time to get to know them and not make assumptions about what they're in, because a lot of people make assumptions. Think these people are worthless, they're trash.
Right. Yeah, it's that misconception, and that even I've heard my own parents say that, oh, if you're a homeless person, that just means you're lazy and you don't want to work. Bull crap.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, they're making all these assumptions and judging, and they're not getting to know the people. They're treating them like scum. And then, especially had a case, where this guy I think got violent one time, and that's why he got homeless. But they're just judging him on like 3 minutes of his life. That was the one bad decision, but now he's marked.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they're not really considering what led to that situation, right? As you're saying yourself, the guy doesn't want to work. They're not considering maybe why he doesn't want to work, what led to that decision.
Right.
Maybe he had a good reason for it, hidden.
Exactly. That's a great point. Well, I mean, speaking on the whole church issue is, my parents are both Christian, non-denominational, and I was Christian the majority of my life myself, but I had a deconversion over the last 2 years for personal reasons that I really don't want to get into because it would take too much time to talk about that. But it dawns upon me the idea that especially here in the South, there's so many churches, thousands upon thousands within the city, big churches. And, in my own community, close to my apartment complex I live in, I see a lot of homeless people on the street. In the cold, in the elements. But yet you have these big churches left vacant all week long. They're only open on Sunday for a couple hours, and that's it. And I just look at it and I see a ton of resources going to piss in our society. This issue of homelessness could be solved overnight if we allocate our resources to the right place, but we're not prioritizing what matters most.
Yeah, wow, that's right.
Yeah. Well, Warren, I removed the guy, okay? Because the guy was in here to make drama. He was trying to call Warren a simp for having a different view than himself. Okay, and that right there is you trying to promote your own view over everybody else. I don't go for that crap. Warren's very smart. Warren's going to listen to both sides, and he's going to process it his way, and he's going to come out with his opinion, okay? And that's exactly as it should be.
Yeah. I know both of y'all can back me up for what I'm about to say. If there's anything that I could say to anybody listening in the chat right now, anybody listening to Steve chat or Steve himself, the only thing I can say is nothing's changed. None of us are changing our standpoint on the major TFL issues. I can talk to a woman. Harry, Bill can talk to a woman. But that doesn't change the fact that if a woman says something that we disagree with, we'll call her out on that bullshit.
That's exactly right. I'm going to call her out on it.
Yeah.
I don't put it up with it in my real life. I don't let a woman run me over, and I don't run her over. Okay? And I don't play into the double standards with any woman in real life. And I say what I got to say and what I mean and what I feel. Okay? And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Women and men got to learn that relationships are built. And it takes a lot of work. Okay? This is why it was so important. Jane is so spot on. Relationships are built, and it takes a lot of work, and it's 50-50. It's never what you're seeing today. What you're seeing today is nothing but corruption. Okay? That's exactly what you're seeing today. And we have to stop that, and the only way we can stop it is to keep fighting back.
You got to be caring, you got to be compassionate, you got to listen to what the other person's got to say and treat them like a human being, don't give them any different treatment because they're a woman, be it better treatment or worse treatment. You know, just treat them like a dude, human.
Right. And I think a big problem that we run into as men today is that because of society's brainwashing and how women have been brainwashed into treating men like shit. If a man approaches a woman with compassion and treats her with respect, it's so easy for her to interpret that as weakness and neediness. And you have to, at the same time that you can be compassionate and loving and caring towards a woman, you also have to make sure that you're never taken advantage of. And if a woman is taking advantage of you on a very subtle level, it's an important factor that you recognize it quickly and put your foot, you know, on the stomping ground to put an end to it. And I mean, that line, that margin of error is becoming so thin these days. It's almost gotten to the point where it's near impossible to accomplish both things at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if they're treating you different than you're treating them, that's a red flag right there. Like if you're responding to her messages right away and then she takes 2 days to respond, then that goes to show she thinks she's above you or something, or she doesn't give a fuck about you, and that's a red flag.
Exactly. That's a huge red flag. And I will never speak in favor of being needy towards a woman. I think it's just a matter of women. I mean, I'll admit women are very, very subtle in the way that they act and some of the things that they say. Just because a woman says she loves you and cares about you does not always mean that she loves and cares about you. And that's something that I've most recently learned in my own life. You know? So
yeah, it's like they're purposely lying to you to try and use you and butter you up later on, right? You know, I mean, they don't get in trouble for lying to you, so I guess they think it's fine to.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I had a single mother that I was dating for a while. We hung out for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, got to know each other a little bit, and then I guess she ended up getting into a relationship with another guy. So we went about 8, 9 months without talking. Fast forward, we start talking again, and she confesses to me that she fell in love with me when we first met. And at the time, I really wasn't thinking about it. I was like, okay, so, you know, 2 or 3 weeks go by, we hang out some more, spend some more time together. And then one day there was just a shift because I was speaking my mind on some things. And the next day I woke up in the morning, she asked me if I could give her $25 to help her bridge pay her phone bill. And I said, no, go get that money from your baby daddy. Go get that money from your child's father. I'm not giving you that money. I've never heard from her since. So yeah, we could safely say that she was talking bullcrap out of her ass when she said she fell in love with me. You know, so you have to really, that's what I've learned is that you have to, and it's sad because you want to believe that if a woman tells you she loves you and all the things that she's bringing to you, you want to believe that it's true. Yeah. You want to believe that it's true because we all deep down want to feel loved and wanted. But
yes, you do. But what I would tell you to do is this: you listen to the words, but you watch the actions. Actions always tells the real truth because they cannot hide their actions because their true intents will come through their actions. And this is how you will bust it. It's not a gender issue. You watch the actions because the actions always tells the truth.
Yeah, well, it didn't take me long to figure out that was a bunch of crap. And unfortunately, most women our age, Harry, they do lie. They say one thing, they mean another. I mean, how can you trust them?
They
how can
say
you really
the
trust
opposite.
them?
Well, you know what I've discovered? So many women nowadays will say the opposite of what they mean. If they said they wanted steak, they wanted a steak dinner, they probably want a hamburger dinner. And I hate to say that, but I've witnessed this so many times, a woman saying the exact opposite of what she means, and then you do as you think this is what she'd like, and you do it. And now you're having drama because she wanted the opposite.
Yeah.
Like somehow you're supposed to figure that out and know that it's the opposite or read her mind. And it don't work that way. You have to be honest straight across the board with both genders. And both genders not only have to be honest, if a woman wants something, she needs to say what it is she wants, not the opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bill, I'm kind of jealous of you growing up in a time before all the social engineering took off, because I know in your day used to have morals like a person is as good as their word, but nowadays it's like, oh, if you're going to tell a lie, we were brought up telling white lies and stuff, and that was seen as all right behavior, but really all that did was encourage people to tell bigger lies later on because they could get away with it.
Well, to Dean, I agree with you, Harry. To Dean, he's saying, Bill, it's not, they say the opposite. Their mind changes by the second. Well, that's still their fault. Because if you say you want something and then you change your mind, then you need to open your freaking mouth.
It's because they don't care about the other person, though, really. They have no
Yeah.
care. They're just trying to manipulate them to use them, really. So maybe that's the single mother foot. She could use her, and some of the girls maybe I've been with foot that could use me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
They never
know.
really cared. They were just trying to use us for what we had and throw us away.
Exactly. And that's where I think that's where this whole beta male provider phenomenon that everybody's talking about comes into play, because a lot of guys, they're being taken advantage of by these women who really don't give a rat's piss about them, but they put up with it anyway, or they don't know that that's how everything is going down because they're too afraid to be left alone in their life. So they put up with abuse. And that's not right. We have to stand up for that. And we do.
That's exactly right. What needs to happen is women need to be held accountable just like men. No exceptions. Okay? And women need to realize they're not some special snowflake. Men who think they're above others need to realize they're not no special snowflake neither. I don't believe in anybody's over anybody. I don't care what your position is in life. I don't care how much materialistic shit you got. It doesn't matter if you're the damn Pope. You're not above anybody else. I don't buy into that crap. Too many people want to be above somebody else all over the world. And it's become a big game to one up somebody else. It's like guys who go around hitting on married women. You know what they tell you? Well, if I can get into your wife's pants, I'm a better man than you.
Jesus.
And this is literally what they tell you. And I'm like, no, you ain't no better man than me. You're a parasite that's going to catch a bullet in the head one day.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about that. That's all you are. You have no business hitting on another man's woman.
Yeah.
But like our role models, they all lie to us. Like our presidents still tell us lies. Lying's normalized today. Back in the day, if somebody told a lie, they were not to be trusted. But today, everyone's lying. It's Donald Trump seems a cool guy. He lies all the fucking time. He's a bully. So young men look up to this guy, or young people look up to this guy. This is who you want to be.
That's very true, brother.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, guys, real love does exist, but it can only be found one way. And if you want to know how that way is, you listen to last night's live stream, because Jana told you, and I've been telling you it for years. Okay, I didn't have to tell Jana. She already knows how to find real love, and it takes a lot of work and it takes time. Nothing's instant. Nothing.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that one bit. That's what my own parents told me. I mean, my own father told me, marriage is a lot of hard work, son. You're going to go through a bunch of crap. And he's been married for 30 years. And I'm sure my grandparents would say the same thing to me if I had the chance to sit down and talk with them.
And Dean makes a statement that, Bill, there's a lot of married women hitting on married men. Okay? That is correct. I'm not going to argue with that. That's correct. Because the corruption is on both sides. And I'll tell you this right now. If you're married and your woman's hitting on another man, this means she don't really want to be with you and she's not faithful to you anyhow. So get rid of her.
Yep. Horrible. And this is the person that they're supposed to love the most, yet they treat them like this, and then we wonder why we're at where we're at.
Well, where we're at because of people's behaviors. because people want to play games. They don't want to be honest. They want to say everything they can say to get their want. So, and I've seen it both ways in my life. I've witnessed in real life, in my face, men controlling the woman and abusing the woman. But I've also witnessed in my face women controlling men and abusing men. See, none of this stuff has ever been one sided. That's what people don't get. The only thing that's been really one sided is so many women in 1 to 5 seconds will reject a man over and over, and that guy will go for years without ever having one woman in her life because of that behavior. And that is directly responsibility of that comes from NWO, the feminist movement, and placing women on a pedestal. That's where that comes from.
Yeah. Mm.
People need to
Wow.
understand that. I mean, that's why I told people that the programming was always one set of programs for the women, one set of programming for the men. The end result is we divide the genders. And that's exactly what's happened. I mean, if you had a chance to have a free pass to do whatever you want and have everybody catering to you and placing you on a pedestal and blah, 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 and you get all your wants, okay? I don't know anybody, man or woman alike, that wouldn't fall into that. Okay? The only people
Yeah.
that won't fall into that are people with real care. People with real empathy that actually care about right and wrong and will refuse to go down that road. Okay? And unfortunately, in today's society, that's not very many people. So we are literally in a war. Okay? And it is a war. And we cannot allow this, we have to stand up to it. And that's really where I come from. That's the reason I never back down. It is, people called me a woman hater for years. And I've never been a woman hater ever. But see, this is the perception. I told everybody that, I even told Jana that before we came on the show, somebody's going to make the statement that her and I are together. Within 15 minutes of being on the show, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I called it out before it ever took place. We already knew what was going to happen on that show. And these guys came in and proved me right. I see Global Man's in here.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I like
I
a bit
mean,
of Global Man, helps you think.
And overall, I would agree with Global Man, okay? But, unfortunately, we every now and again, hello, Global Man. But you do have good women, you do have bad men, but the majority are bad, period.
yes.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And understand this. Jana, okay, is like anybody else, socially engineered. She's a female. But Jana actually woke up and started looking and changed her own behaviors and is loaded with empathy. Okay? And Jana came up here and did something you don't see. She come on a live stream loaded with men, and she, with the courage, came up and stayed straight honest, right across the board, okay? And she's fighting for men. You just don't see that anymore. So you have to give her the credit she deserves for actually doing that. You have to
Absolutely.
understand that she deserves that credit for doing that. Because most women would have never done that in a billion years. When I understand Peter's dilemma, a Global Man's dilemma, think about it. The man's married to a woman, has kids with her, he's married to her for 20 something years, turns around while he's at work, she freaking replaces him behind his back, uses the court system to steal everything away from him, children, house, and everything, and then turns his kids against him. And that is exactly what happened to Global Man. And when people said, well, he's mad, well, you would be too.
Yes. That's horrible.
Okay, what happened to Peter is just wrong. And I've seen it happen so many times. His anger is very justified. I have a lot of respect for Peter, and I always will. I don't care what other people think about him, but you know why I'm up here fighting. And I would never dreamed in a million years that I'd find a woman that was actually awake enough to see this crap and be on the men's side and fight against other women. You just don't see it. And here it is, okay, in your face. And that's why you better applaud Jana, because she's earned it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And so
You know,
I'm not
talk.
gonna,
Yeah.
I will never dump on Jana because Jana actually earns it. She's earned my respect.
Hmm.
Okay, you guys had something to say, go for it. I'll shut up. How's that?
Yeah, right. Hayden, do you want to say something? Or?
Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Going back to that issue of married women and married men hitting on each other or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have a lot of married women that I work with at my job who I can say are, really attractive women in my eyes. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll put it out there. I've had my mental fantasies about some of the things, I would do with some of these married women that I work with because they are very attractive. And I don't think there's anything wrong with looking at a woman, even if she is married, and having those thoughts and those fantasies, because we are men and we do have a high sex drive ingrained into our biology. But you have to draw the line between just keeping it about thoughts and then crossing over that boundary into dangerous territory where those thoughts turn into actions. You have to be able to control that. It's one thing to think about, the attraction you have towards a married woman. It's a whole completely different ball game to act on those actions. And once you act on those thoughts, that's when you're in dangerous territory. So,
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't do it because my mindset is, well, if she do it to him, she do it to me. I
right.
can't trust her.
Yes.
Yeah. If you, I think you just kind of have to think that, put yourself in the shoes of the man who's married to that woman. Would you want other men trying to go out of their way to, what they would say, run game on your wife? So, I think you just have to, keep it off your mind as much as you can. I mean, because there are a lot of very attractive married women, where I live, but you have to draw that line and say, you know what? I need to treat this woman with respect. I need to keep my thoughts and my emotions out of it and understand that she is married to another man and I should do the best I can to honor and respect that. And I think if more people do that, this phenomena of men and women married cheating on each other will take a plunge. But that's all I wanted to say about that little issue right there.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we said our piece. What do you think? I think we did.
Oh yeah.
And hey,
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I'm glad you showed up. Okay.
I'm
And
glad I
Certainly.
woke up on time.
you're always welcome. Okay. And you've got me on Zoom. Feel free to call me anytime you want to just chat as well.
Absolutely. And Harry, you too. Do you have I'm assuming you have a Zoom account. I mean, you have to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep, of
I'll
course
Yeah,
he
I'll
does.
send
yeah.
Bill my email and then he can maybe send that to you.
Yeah, you can. I can give you mine right here on air. I really don't care. I mean, it'd be nice to just chat sometime.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, maybe it's just I don't know. Wait for him to cut the live stream
Yeah,
because you
I'll
can still
cut the
talk
live
to us
stream.
on
I'll
Zoom.
cut the live stream first, okay? And you could put
Okay.
it. You can actually put it in the chat box here on Zoom. So don't hang up when I cut the live stream. Stay on here, and we'll talk off air, okay? And guys,
Okay. Yeah.
with that being said, I'm going to get on out of here. This was an off-the-cuff live stream based on the results of last night's show, okay? If you missed stuff, go back and watch it. And with that, I'm out of here, guys, okay? So to the live stream, you'll have a good one to the next one, and I'll be back on Saturday night for sure. Bye-bye.